Hello friends, we will discuss ABM Unit 4 Theories of Interest. So from that unit we are going to discuss the important MCQs. So friends, let's start with the first MCQ. For what is the interest rate? For what is the interest rate a reward? That means they are asking the interest rate is nothing but the reward. It is nothing but the reward for what? That means why basically we charge the interest rate, that this basically they are asking. So friends, see, for what is the interest rate a reward? Option number 1, sacrifice involved in the act of supplying savings, abstinence involved in the act of supplying savings, waiting involved in the act of supplying savings, and all of the above. So friends, correct option here is the all of the above. So friends, see here, sacrifice involved, that means you are sacrificing your money for supplying your savings. You are sacrificing basically your savings. Okay, that means when you lend your money, you will give that money to somebody else, say ABC. That means you are sacrificing. Okay, next, abstinence involved, that means there is a trouble involved, there is a trouble involved, right? There is a risk involved, there is a trouble involved. And waiting involved, that means you give some rupees to the borrower, right? That means for the period of 12 months. That means there is a period involved, there is a period involved, there is a waiting involved. That's why it is also correct. That means why interest it is a reward? Because there is a sacrifice involved, there is trouble involved, there is a waiting involved. All of the above are the correct. That's why we charge the interest. Okay, now question number 2. According to the Keynes, there are three motives behind the desire of the public to hold the liquid cash. Which of the following is not a motive behind the same? So friends, see the question again. According to the Keynes, there are three motives behind the public to hold their cash. Remember here, within MCQ there is one MCQ, right? That means remember, according to Keynes, there are three motives. They may ask how many motives. There are three motives. That's why the public hold the cash. Okay, remember what are that motives? Option number 1, transaction motive, it is there. Consumption motive, it is not there. Precautionary motive, it is there. And speculative motive, it is there. That means you have to find which is not a motive. So friends, you have to mark second option. Okay, there are basically three motives as given there. Transaction motive, that means we need cash for a particularly, so you can say, business or a personal use, right? Precautionary, that means for some unexpected situation we need a cash for unexpected situations. And speculative means you can hold the cash for the investment opportunities, that is basically a speculative. Okay, but there is no consumption motive. Okay, so second option you have to mark. Now third, question number 3, fill in the blanks with the correct term, right? In Keynes' view, the demand for the money is a function of both income and dash dash. Though in a classical theory it was a function of income alone. So what you have to take here? You have to note here, in a classical theory, the demand for money is a function of income alone. But according to Keynes, demand for money, it is a function of income plus what? Right, that means this they are asking, but that things you have to remember. Okay, so see here, in a Keynes view, the demand for money is a function of both income as well as option 1, saving, second, supply of money, third, rate of interest, and fourth, consumption. So friends, According to Keynes, remember, demand for money is a function of, it is a function of what? It is a function of income plus interest rate, we can say rate of interest, remember. But according to a classical theory, it is the demand for money, it is a function of only income. Remember that 2 points. Okay, so what you will mark here? According to a Keynes view, demand for the money is a function of both income as well as interest rate. Okay, so the third option you have to mark. Next, question number 4. IS curve and LM curve relate two variables. What are that variable? So friends, see here. First option, they have given income consumption, income and rate of interest, income and supply of money, income and the production. So friends, see here. What is ISLM curve? See, this is the one curve, this is the second curve, this is the LM curve. Remember, upward sloping curve is LM and downward sloping curve is the IS. See here, D for download, here U for upload. IS, I and L. I comes before the L and D comes before the U. In this fashion you can easily remember. And it is always rate of interest versus income. Right, if you know the graph, you can easily solve that MCQ. So what they are asking, ISLM curve relates to which two variable? Obviously rate of interest and the income. So what is the correct option? Option number 2 will be your correct option, income and the rate of interest. Okay, now the question number 5. The fiscal expansion coupled with the monetary expansion will always cause, first option, the output to rise, output to fall, interest rate to rise, interest rate to fall. So friends, see here. See, what do you mean by fiscal expansion? See, fiscal expansion, we are going to discuss detail in the our next unit, that is 9th unit, it may be, that is monetary policy, right, and fiscal policy, that we are going to discuss in detail. But here you just I will brief you an idea about the fiscal expansion. Fiscal expansion means what? You have to, if government reduces the taxes and gives some subsidies, increase the subsidies, like, so what will happen in that return? Production or output will increase. That is called as the fiscal expansion. And in case of monetary expansion, that means what the government will do, if the repo rate has been decreased by the government, definitely the output will increase. Okay, that means there will be more boom in the businesses, there will be more money available at the cheaper rate, that's why output will increase. That is nothing but called as the monetary expansion. Or fiscal expansion means basically reducing the taxes and increasing the subsidies. So what will happen due to this? Definitely output will rise. Output will rise. Very easy, friends. If you know the concept, you can easily mark the MCQ. Next, question number 6. The LM curve is derived from which theory? So first option, very easy. LM curve is derived from which theory? First option, classical theory of rate of interest, ISLM curve model, Keynesian liquidity preference theory of interest, and Hicks-Hansen synthesis. So remember friends, IS curve is derived from the Keynes liquidity preference theory. Remember, IS curve is always derived from the Keynes liquidity preference theory. And from that classical theory rate of interest, we derived the IS curve. Remember, the LM curve is derived from Keynes liquidity preference. Okay, that is very important, friends. Remember here, I will repeat here. Remember, IS curve is derived from classical theory and LM curve is derived from Keynes liquidity preference theory. Okay, remember that in that one MCQ we already covered the two important points. Okay, remember that bits. So our correct option for the LM curve is derived from the Keynes liquidity preference theory. Okay, now the question number 7. See, what are the real rate? So friends, what do you mean by real rates? See here, I will explain here. Real rates are rates where you are adjusting the inflation. Okay, that is basic funda of a real rates. That means the rate which are adjusted considering the inflation. Okay, now which rate are without inflation? The rate are without inflation is called as the nominal rate. Okay, now when you adjust that nominal rate with inflation, that rate is called as basically a real rate. Okay, so see here, what are real rates? Nominal rates adjusted for inflation, it is the option correct. Bank rate adjusted for inflation, no. Rate quoted on loan, no. Bank rate adjusted with nominal rate, no. See, real rate, that means when you adjust the nominal rate with inflation, that time you will get the real rate. Okay, now next question number 8. According to a classical theory, the rate of interest is determined by dash dash supply of savings and demand for the savings. You have to select the most appropriate option. So friends, according to the classical theory, the rate of interest is determined by dash dash of a supply of a saving and demand for the saving. So basically first option is very easy, you can guess. Difference, average, equilibrium, preference. Definitely there should be a equilibrium. Okay, it is very easy, you can easily guess. Equilibrium between supply and demand and supply of the saving. That is basically a classical theory. Okay, very easy, you can easily guess. So next question. As per the Keynes theory, at a higher level of income, people will want to keep more money in their portfolio. What is this motive called? So friends, we have already discussed as per the Keynes theory that people want their to keep more money in their portfolio. There are basically 3 motives, right? First is the precautionary, transaction and speculative. All are 3 motives behind the people to hold the cash. Okay, that's why people hold the cash, to perform the precautionary motive, to perform transaction motive and to do the speculative motive, but there is no profit motive. Okay, see now what they are asking, as per the Keynes theory, higher level of income, people want to keep more money in their portfolio. So friends, see here, question number 9. According to a Keynes, when income increases, definitely the people will spend more. That's why the spending also increases, and when the spending increases, people want and people obviously will do the transactions. And that's why when the income increases, the motive behind the people to hold the cash is nothing but the transaction motive. Okay, this will be our correct answer. Okay, now question number 10. According to a Keynes, at which level is the rate of interest determined? Option number 1, where consumption demand equal to the supply of money, where demand for money equal to supply of money, and where demand for investment equal to supply of money. Fourth, none of the above. So friends, very easy and basic. According to a Keynes liquidity preference theory, that is a liquidity preference theory, when demand for money is equal to supply of money, that time we get the equilibrium. So our correct option is the second option, demand for money equal to supply of the money. Okay, next question number 11. It is the level of autonomous expenditure which determine the position of IS curve, and changes in the autonomous expenditure cause a shift in it. What can be concluded in autonomous expenditure? So what can be included in the autonomous expenditure? I will read again. See friends, if it is the level of autonomous expenditure which determine the position of IS curve, and changes in autonomous expenditure causes shift in the IS curve. So what can be included in the autonomous expenditure. That means they are asking what expenditure will shift the IES curve. That basically they are asking. So friends, first option, investment expenditure, government expenditure and consumption expenditure. That is basically C plus I plus G. That is all expenditure. That is C plus I plus G. In easy form you can remember, C plus I plus G will shift the IS curve. Remember, it is also you have to remember. Okay, so you have to mark all of the above. What you have to remember? The changes in the C plus I plus G, that is consumption, that is next is the government spending and investment, right? That all can shift the IS curve. Okay, so fourth option you have to mark. Now question number 12, which of the following factors cause the IS schedule to shift? Why the IS schedule shifts? So first option, a change in a money supply, second, a change in the investment, third, a change in the taxes, and fourth, both 1 and 2. So friends, when the IS curve, or we can say IS schedule, can shift when there is a change in the investment, as I have already told you, C plus I plus G, that is change in the investment. Change in the taxes, definitely that will change the government spending, and so we have to mark both 2 and 3. Okay, so fourth option is the correct option. So friends, when there is a change in the money supply, basically it will shift the LM curve, because LM curve is a purely monetary phenomenon. It is purely monetary phenomenon, and that is a demand and supply of money will shift the LM curve. So first option is not correct, second and third, so that's why you have to mark 4, that is both 2 and 3 are correct for the IS curve shift. Okay, now see some more important points. If you have to remember, you can remember. I will explain here. What are the factors affecting the IS curve? The changes in the autonomous consumption expenditure, that is a C. The changes in the planned investment spending unrelated to the interest rate, that is basically investment. Changes in the government spending, and changes in the taxes. Changes in the net export unrelated to the interest rate. That are factors majorly which affect the IS curve. You can easily remember, and I have that formula shortcut C, that is a C plus I plus G. Okay, that you can easily remember. Okay, now also note here that what are the factors which shifts the LM curve? Remember friends, this is and this is, right? So basically this is the IS curve and this is the LM curve, right? So this is the IS curve, this is the remember here, I will draw again. See, IS versus LM. This is the downward sloping and this is the upward sloping. So I come before the L. So we will D come before the U. So here we will take IS and here you will take LM. Okay. So in this fashion you can remember what is the slope, downward or upward sloping. Okay. So downward sloping is the IS curve and upward sloping is the LM curve. Okay. So in this fashion you can remember, it is always rate of interest versus the income, rate of interest versus the income. Okay, and you can remember the LM curve mainly affected by the changes in the money supply or changes in the money demand, and IS curve, it is affected by these factors. Mainly you can remember C plus I plus G. Okay, next, consumption, investment and government spending. Now question number 13. See, question number 13. Here the J.M. Keynes explained the interest rate. It is a purely in terms of following. I have just explained to you this also: economic phenomenon, monetary phenomenon, social phenomenon, market forces. So friend, this is most important question and most repeatedly asked. According to the Keynes, the interest rate it is a purely monetary phenomenon. Okay, so remember, interest rate according to a Keynes, it is purely a monetary phenomenon. Okay, question number 14. See, the money demand curve as per the Keynes theory of interest is downward sloping because, see, what I have told you already, the according to a Keynes theory, the money demand curve, D for demand and D for download, so it is a downward sloping. Why? First option, the demand for money is directly related to the rate of interest. The demand for money is inversely related to the rate of interest. The demand for money is positively related to the rate of interest, and demand for money is not related to the rate of interest. So correct option you have to mark here is the demand for the money is inversely related to the rate of interest. As here you can easily judge here. See, when anything which is downward sloping, there is always a negative relationship. So you have to mark inversely related. Okay. Now the IS next question. The IS curve and the LM curve relates to which of the following variables? So friends, option number 1, income money, interest money, income and interest, income, interest and money. So friends, see, basically the IS curve and LM curve. This is downward sloping, this is upward sloping. D come before U and I come before the L. Okay. So we have to take IS curve here and you have to take the LM curve here. And it is always rate of interest versus the income. And income is nothing but what? It is nothing but your investment plus saving. Okay, so what is our correct answer? It is always rate of interest, that is interest versus income. So you have to mark income and the interest. So what are the variable? Income and the interest. Okay, now the question number 16. As per the J.M. Keynes theory of interest, the nominal income is higher in two asset economy. People would like to hold their portfolio. See friends, according to Keynes, people will hold their money, right? Basically, if the income of a people is more, people will hold the cash or either a deposit in the bank. And if the rate of interest is higher, the people will invest in the bonds. It is very easy to remember. There are basic two asset, that is called as a two asset economy. That is called as the two asset economy of a Keynes. Okay, if income is more, then they will hold more cash or either kept in the bank. But if the rate of interest is more, they will invest in the bonds to gain the more. Okay, now what they are asking, as per the J.M. Keynes two asset economy, if nominal income is higher, so what people will do? Definitely, if the income is higher, people will hold the cash or the bank deposit. So option number 2 you have to mark, right? And also remember here only, if the rate of interest is higher, the people will invest in the bonds. Also remember that also. Okay. Now the question number next question. Keynes explained the interest in terms of, first option, real forces, economic forces, monetary forces, social forces. So same question, Keynes, according to Keynes, the rate of interest, it is a purely monetary phenomenon. So monetary forces, it is our answer. Okay, very easy. Next question. LM curve is derived from. So from what LM curve is derived? First option, classical theory, Keynes, that is Keynes liquidity preference theory, then law of diminishing marginal utility and the law of equi-marginal utility. So basically friends, always remember, LM curve is always, and that is derived from the Keynes liquidity preference theory. It is Keynes liquidity preference theory. And also remember, IS curve is derived from the classical theory of interest. Okay, that too you have to remember. One liner MCQ can be framed based on that, which is also very important question. Now question number 19. Hicks and Hansen brought about a synthesis between dash dash and dash dash and succeeded in the propounding an adequate and determined theory of interest. So it is hard language, but question is very easy. See, that means they are basically asking what the Hicks and Hansen, the done the synthesis between which, right? So basically, first option they have given LM curve and J.M. theory of interest. Second option IS and J.M. theory of interest. Third is the classical theory and J.M. theory of interest. And fourth is the classical theory and the IS curve. So friends, remember the Hicks, it is also most important and repeatedly asked, right? So friends, Hicks and Hansen done the synthesis and they have synthesized two theory. First is the classical theory and second is the James Keynes liquidity preference theory. Okay, so correct option is the third option, right? That is the classical theory and the liquidity preference theory. Okay, now the question number 20. When the income increases, income liquidity curve moves upward, the interest rate will. So friends, see here, basically, see, when income increases and the income liquidity curve moves upward, that means, see here, this is the upward movement, right? And it is a rate of interest versus income. It is the rate of interest versus income. When it is moves upward, what will happen? If the income increases, that means you will move to this. Suppose this is 1 for 1 and this is 2 for 2. When you income increases, that is you are moving from 1 to 2, definitely your rate of interest also moves from 1 to 2. That means it is increases. Okay, now it is very, see, they are giving directly hint in the question itself. How? See, income increases, the income liquidity curve moves upward. Any curve when it moves upward, there is a direct relationship. Or it is, okay, I say positive relationship. It is a positive relationship. So we have to mark increase, right? Now question number 21. Dash dash indicates the various rate of interest at different level of income given the investment demand curve and family of saving curve at different level of income. Okay, first LM curve, second IS curve, third IS and LM, fourth liquidity curve. So friends, here the correct answer is the IS curve. Why? Because it is basically a definition. It is a definition. So if you don't know the definition, how can you judge the answer? See friends, in the question itself they have given some keyword like investment, saving, right? So based on that you can easily judge that answer is the IS curve. Okay, so somehow if you not able to recall, then you have to use that tricks. Okay, now it is basically a definition of IS curve, so nothing more to explain this. Question number 22. Pick odd man out. So we have to find the odd. First option, rent, interest, wages and money. So what is the odd? Odd is the money. You have to mark. It is very easy. How? See, rent is the liability, interest is also liability, wages is also liability, but money is asset. Your money is asset. Okay, so you have to mark money. Okay, and basically rent, interest and wages, all three you pay using the money. So money is the, it is odd man out. Okay, next, it is very easy. So question number 23. The position of a money demand curve depends upon, first option, the level of nominal income, second, the expectations about the changes in bond prices, third, prices fluctuations. So always remember friends, the money demand, the position of a money demand curve depends upon, first, level of nominal income. Obviously if your income increases, then demand for money will also increase. Expectations about the changes in the bond price is also correct, but price fluctuation is not in the definition. So basically it is a definition, and if you gone through the theory part, it is there. It is not depend on the price fluctuation. So correct option is the A and B only. Okay. So 23 we have learned it is only A and B. See, according to a Keynes, the money demand for the money, that is demand for money depend on first level of nominal income, that is nominal income basically we can say, and the bond prices and bond prices expectations. In this short form you can remember. How to remember? According to the Keynes, the demand for money depends on the income, or we can say bond prices, about the expectations. In this shortcut you can easily remember, but not on the price fluctuation. It is extra unnecessary they have given. Okay, now the question number 24. The initials LM stands for: first option liquidity model, second liquidity preference money supply equilibrium, liquidity and money model, liquidity and money. So remember friends, LM stands for liquidity preference, L for liquidity preference and M for money supply equilibrium. So you have to mark correct option. This is also very easy, very easy, and also important, okay, very easy and important. Question number 25. As per the Hicks-Hansen, the equilibrium rate of interest comes at a point where: first option IS curve and money supply curve intersect, second IS and income curve intersect, third IS and LM curve intersect. It is correct. IS and LM and money supply curve, it is not correct. So basically friends, see here, when there is interaction, there is upward sloping, downward sloping. Upward U stands, so it is a LM curve, and it is a IS is the downward sloping curve. Okay, and it is always a rate of interest versus income. Income is nothing but your investment plus saving. Okay, so correct option is the IS and LM curve. It is very basic. Right, so it is downward sloping, it is upward sloping. Okay, now the question number 26. See, question number 26. Okay, if money supply increases without change in the demand for the money, the interest rate, it is very easy. See, if there is no demand in the market and you are continuously supplying the money, obviously the interest rate will goes down. It is common sense, right? For example, say suppose you are a bank, right, and RBI money supply increases, means that RBI gives money to you, and there is no demand by the bank from the RBI to the RBI that you supply money, and that continuously money is supplying by the RBI to the bank. What will bank do? Bank will have excess money, right? So bank will reduce the rate of interest so that customer will take the loans. Okay, in this fashion you can easily remember. Okay, now the question number 27. The responsiveness of a demand for money to change in income determines. So question number 27. What do you mean by responsiveness of the demand for the money to the change in the income? First option C, slope of IS, slope of LM, equilibrium rate of interest, all of the above. So friends, see here, whenever you see the word demand for the money, basically see liquidity preference theory, that is Keynes liquidity preference theory. Basically it is based on the demand and supply of the money. That's why here the correct option is the slope of a LM curve. Okay, this is the correct option. Why? See, when there is a demand for the money, you should get that only demand for the money is only in the Keynes liquidity preference model, Keynes liquidity preference theory, and through that we are deriving the LM curve. So you have to mark the slope of a LM curve. Okay, question number 28. According to the J.M. Keynes, rate of interest and bond prices are how related? Remember, this is the most expected MCQ. This is the most IMP MCQ. Always remember, according to Keynes, the rate of interest is inversely related to the bond prices. Mark this and take this as a note in your book. So what you will mark? According to Keynes, interest rate and bond prices are inversely related. You have to mark. Okay, you have to note this. Now the question number 29. IS score is derived from classical theory, Keynes theory, law of diminishing marginality and law of equimarginality. We know that IS curve is derived from the classical theory and LM curve is derived from the Keynes liquidity preference theory. Okay, that two you have to remember. This is first and this is second. Okay, now very easy. You have to mark the classical theory. IS curve is derived from the classical theory. Okay, now question number 30. The LM curve is derived from which of the following? First option, Keynes theory of interest called the liquidity preference theory, classical theory of interest, liquidity model, law of money. I have already explained just before. LM curve is derived from the liquidity preference theory, that is Keynes theory. So first you have to mark as the correct option. Very easy to remember. Now question number 31st. See, this is somehow the case study based questions. Now see, based on the above information, we have to solve some questions. Right? They have what they have given. Very first, I will explain you the in the brief the diagram. Right? Okay. See. See the diagram. Based on the diagram, we have to give the some. We have to analyze the diagram first. They have given some diagram, right? That is what they have given. They have given that liquidity preference on the rate of interest. They have given the liquidity preference on the rate of interest. Okay. Now see, based on the diagram, they are asking some questions, basic questions they are asking. Okay, now see, the quantity of a money supply in the above diagram has been assumed to be first option increasing, second decreasing, constant, inadequate information. So friends, see here in the diagram itself that quantity of a money supply is a constant. MS, that is a money supply, and money supply is a vertical line and it is a constant, right? At this point, see here at this point, the value of money supply is n. Money supply is equal to n and it is a constant. So you have to mark what? You have to mark the constant. Okay, you have to mark the constant. Okay, now the next question we will discuss. In the above diagram, the curve relates to. In the above diagram, the curve relates to. So friends, see here. See here the diagram. What do you mean by LP? LP means liquidity preference theory, right? See in the diagram, they have given that a curve, right? So see here, right? See what they have given in the diagram. 31st we have already completed, right? We will move to the 32nd. In the above diagram relates to, that means they are asking increase in money supply, decrease in money supply, shift in a liquidity preference, and a decrease in the liquidity preference. See in the diagram itself, you can see. Okay, see that liquidity preference curve they have given. Okay, and see it is shifting from LP1 to LP2. That is from LP1 to LP2. Okay, and when that curve shifts to the right, when that curve, that is liquid, when the liquidity preference curve shifts to the right, there is always increase in a demand. There is always increase in demand. See, we have discussed, right? What in the previous third chapter we have discussed what? See, we have discussed in the previous chapter price versus quantity, and this is downward sloping demand curve, right, in the previous chapter. And when demand curve shifts to the right, there is increase in demand. That is basic principle. There is increase in the demand. Same applies here. See what they have given, the LP, that curve is moving from this to this. That means to the right side the curve is moving from 1 to 2. That means that the demand for the money should increase. Okay, so there is a increase in the money supply. Okay, there is no decrease, there is no shift, there is no decrease. Definitely there is increase in the money supply. Okay, now the question number 33. See again the same figure, and what they are asking, see here, I will make an adjustment. Okay, the LP1 or LP2, it is also called, what is called? First option money supply, money demand, money equilibrium, and fourth is the money shortage curve. So in this fashion they can frame a question. So correct option for question number 33 is the C. Question number 33, the correct option is the money demand curve. Money demand curve. How? See, demand curve is always downward sloping. D for demand, D for demand, D for demand. See here, I will adjust the screen here. See the slope is downward, right? So D for demand and D for downward. Okay, so definitely it is a money demand curve. How to remember? D for demand, and D for downward. Okay, in this fashion you can easily remember. Now the question number 34. If there is a expectation that the rate of interest shall increase in future, the demand for money or liquidity preference will increase. Which of the following statement will not correct in this context? So friends, what they are asking basically, it is expectations that in the future the interest rate is increasing and demand for money will also increase. That means demand for money is also increasing. So what is not correct? See here in the diagram itself. That means interest rate is increasing. That means this to this means R to H, and demand for money is also increasing. That means this, in this right side we are moving on x-axis. So which is not correct? First, LP2 will move to LP1. See first option, whether it is correct. So from this point we are moving to the this point to this point, right, towards the right side, because this will increase, the curve will shift to the right side. So first option is not correct. That is a LP2 will not move to LP1. Second option, this is wrong. LP1 will move to the LP2. See, when you increase this, definitely your curve will shift to the right side. So we can say LP1 to LP2, it is correct. Now the third, what they are saying, the equilibrium will move to the point F. Whether it is correct? Definitely first equilibrium is E and second equilibrium will be F. It is also correct, third statement. Now the rate of interest will move from OR to OH. Let's check in the figure. See, rate of interest will move from OR to OH, right? As we are moving from this curve to this curve. Definitely the last question is also correct. That last option is also correct. So what they are asking, which is not correct? So first option is not correct. Okay, so you have to mark first option. Very easy. Now question number 35. In the above diagram, the money supply remains on when demand for the money, that is liquidity preference, increases from LP1 to LP2. Okay, see, I will adjust the screen here. Okay, what they are saying, we are moving from LP1 to LP2. Okay, and if the money supply is also on, what will happen? First, interest rate will move from OR to OH. We are moving this to this, So interest rate of definitely will move from OR to OH. So first is the correct. Interest rate decrease from OR to OH? No. Interest rate will remain constant? No. We are shifting the curve in adequate information. This is not wrong. So you have to mark the first option as your correct answer. Okay. Now question number 36. It is very easy if you know the figures. It is observed that there is a shift in money demand from LP1 to LP2. This may due to the which of the following factor as per the Keynes. That means they are asking when we move from LP1 to LP2, which are factors responsible for that according to the Keynes. First, level of nominal income, expectations about future change in the price, expectations about the rate of interest. So and all of the so all 1 2 3 all are correct. That I have already explained that theory in the previous question. So we'll move to the next question, question number 37. See, this is the next case study type. Diagram is changed here. See, ISLM curve determine the theory of interest as depicted in the diagram based on first investment demand function, saving or consumption function, liquidity preference function, quantity of money. So friends, see here. This is the ISLM curve. This is the how to remember that curve. Remember I will explain the figure here again, right? So how to remember that figure? This is a downward sloping, this is the upward sloping, and we have two curves IS and LM. I come before the L, so D come before the U, I come before the L. That's why we will mark in this order, right? D come before the U and I come before the L. Okay, see, in this fashion you can easily draw, right? Now E is the equilibrium point, and it is always a rate of interest versus income, and income includes your investment plus a saving. Okay, now what they are asking, in ISLM curve depicted in the diagram, it is based on first investment demand function, it is there, it is investment, saving or consumption function, yes, saving or consumption function, liquidity preference function, obviously, right, quantity of money, right, because it is based on the LM curve, and LM curve is based on the quantity of money. Liquidity preference, that is basically a LM curve's Keynes model. So all 1 2 3 4 1 to all options are correct. Okay, how I have explained here, because the ISLM curve is basically depend on the, it is a function of, we can say, money demand and supply. That is a preference, that is a preference for liquidity, that is a preference for liquidity, that is nothing but the demand and supply of the money. Okay, so what is the correct option you have to mark? You have to mark the 1 2 for all. Now the question number 38. See, question number 38. In the above diagram, the equilibrium point is E. In this connection, which of the following statement is correct? First option, at this point income and rate of interest stand in relation to each other, obviously, because it is equilibrium. Investment and saving are in equilibrium, yes, definitely. Demand for the money is in equilibrium with the supply of the money, yes, it is also there because it is equilibrium position. So definitely you have to mark all of the above. Okay, fourth option you have to mark. Now question number 39, based on the same figure, which of the following is always true regarding the IS curve in the diagram? See, first option, the curve is based on the investment and saving. The curve is based on the investment and saving. Question number 39, the rate of interest is determined by the level of saving and investment. See friends, what they are asking, which of the following is always true? They are asking always true regarding the IS curve in the diagram. So first option, curve is based on investment and saving. We know income is investment and saving, so we can say it is true, but we cannot say it is always. But see second option, the rate of interest is determined by level of saving and investment. Income is nothing but the investment plus saving, and rate of interest is determined by income, that is investment and saving. So we are directly dealing with the x and y variable, so you have to mark this option as the most accurate and always correct. Okay, you have to mark, because here they are giving in the option the x and y direct variable, so they are always true, because x and y axis will never change, right? So it is always correct. So you have to mark the second option here in the question number 39. Now the question number 40, which of the following propounded the above figure, that is ISLM curve model? That means they are asking who has given the ISLM curve model. First option, Hicks and Hansen, J.M. Keynes, classical economist Hicks and Keynes. So we know IS and LM model is given by Hicks and Hansen. This is also very important. You have to remember, there is no option, right? Hicks and Hansen's curve. Hicks and Hansen's two scientists came together and they have synthesized ISLM curve. Okay, so 40 questions we have completed. Now important thing, so what you have to do, you have to subscribe my YouTube channel, that is a Bankers Zone on YouTube. Also you have to download the app from the Play Store. It is a Bankers Zone CIB application. Next, you can also join the group, that is there is a group on the Telegram, that is for the CIB discussion. For that you have to search @CAIIBBZ. And if you want the PDF notes, that I will be providing you the PDF notes, and on the Telegram itself you have to search @Bankers Zone Official. Okay, so that are 4 things you have to do. So friends, all the best for your examination. We will continue our discussion on the next chapter in the next video.